Hello, I'm Dr. Uche. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back on Facebook if you're watching this there. I'm a publisher, I'm a biography writing coach, I'm a book reviewer, and yes, I'm a real life physician too. I love all things books. On this channel, I share biography writing tips, I do book reviews, and I also sometimes do children's book read alouds. So it's great to have you. If you're coming back, thank you so much. Very lovely to have you back. If it's your first time, I hope you consider hitting subscribe, and also feel free to give me a thumbs up anytime. I love those. Tell me what you're reading. Let me know what you think about the books I'm reviewing. Let's go right ahead. So today I'm just from a Zumba class. Never mind the sweating and the exercise gear. It's a book I wanted to discuss with you though, and I wanted to do that really quickly before I run off some other place. This is Where the Children Take Us, How One Family Achieved the Unimaginable by Zain. So you may know this author. She is a CNN anchor. She is sister to the Academy nominated actor Chiwetel Ejiofor. She is Nigerian British, born and bred in England, and I heard she had an autobiography out a few months ago. Finally got around to reading and getting my copy. I loved the book, very heartfelt story, really a tribute to her mother. I loved it on a number of fronts. Number one, because it tells a story about how an immigrant family became successful, the sacrifices of her mother, how they got over a huge earth-shattering early event in their family, the loss of her dad. I also like it because I'm a biography writing coach, and this is yet another way a biography or memoir could be presented. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this book was written, something about it that I liked. So, this child of the massive Nigerian diaspora starts off by telling us that there is tragedy in my story, but my story is not a tragedy. And I think it's such a powerful initial statement. She also says, to be fair, it is my mother's story more than mine. And I totally agree. This is mostly her mother's story. So she then goes on to tell us a little bit about this huge community she belongs to, this massive Nigerian diaspora that I too belong to. I wanted to read some facts. I think that growing up, we all know, those of us who belong to the massive Nigerian diaspora, we know the massive push not only to succeed, but to excel. You got to do really well. Just okay is not good enough for our parents. So we were so driven to do much better than okay, to realize our full potential. And this is something very common among people of my ancestry. But then she states a few facts you may not even know about. I thought I'd read it out real quick. In the United States, Nigerians make up a small portion of the Black population, less than 1%, but represent about a quarter, 25%, of the Black students at Harvard Business School in 2013. As of 2006, Nigerians were the most educated immigrant group in the United States. 17% held master's degrees and 4% held doctorates. And by 2021, 3 of the top 5 richest Black people on earth were Nigerian. So these statistics, I encountered some of this some years ago. I was quite frankly surprised to read the stats, but not surprised in a way, because again, we all grow up in this culture. We know the enormous drive to excel. And just average is not good enough among my people. That's something we've always known. So then, she goes on. And here I want to tell you how she writes the story. For me as a biography writing coach, it's very interesting because she starts off with the event, the earth-shattering event that happened in her family. I can't remember most of what happened that Sunday in September. So this day is the day everything changed for them, okay, in this book. Where the Children Take Us by Zain. This particular day in September of that year was the year they heard her father had died. So very shocking, obviously very loving family, very loving couple, 3 children, 1 on the way. So there's a 4th child who never met their father. Their mother working hard as a pharmacist, had her own pharmacy in England. The father a doctor. So she goes on talking about how the story unraveled, everything leading up to her father's demise in a horrific motor vehicle accident in which her brother Chiwetel, the actor, was actually badly hurt. And apparently some of the scars you see on his forehead are actually from that accident. He was only 13 or so, as I recall. Chiwetel has an older brother, Arinze is the dad, older brother, I'm blanking out on the name. I'll see if I remember to tell you. Obinze, the older brother, eldest, the first child. And so that's it. That's how she begins, by talking about this huge event that changed the course of their family life forever. And then she goes on talking about aspects. So she lifts out particular aspects of her family life, her mother's life. She talks about her mother and meeting the dad. And here I wonder how much is true and how much the mother really could remember. I'm sure she could remember a lot about how she met her late husband. I wonder if she had to fill in some aspects. I really wondered about some of it, especially things coming from the perspective of her late dad, because obviously he's not here to tell her, right? So she talked about how they met, the story of them falling in love and meeting. And then she talks about the devastation of the father's death, how it affected their mother, okay? Then she sort of goes off on a tangent, or kind of like in branches, right? So this is the foundation of the plant, of the tree, right? These are the roots, right? She talks about the initial event, the parents meeting each other, falling in love, and then she goes off in branches. So the first branch, she talks about her brother Chiwetel, how he experienced the death of their father, the impact it had on him. She kind of goes on talking about how he took up acting, and how he came to identify that as an area of strength, started acting in a school at the age of 13 or so, and eventually did so well, got to the point of acting in 20 Years a Slave, that movie that made him famous. She also goes off another branch. The other branch is her eldest brother, Obinze, who was a teen when their father died. How he was really shaken by it, became truant at school, got expelled, and the battle, the struggle their mother went through to get him back in school, get him back interested in school, get him back doing well, to the point that he ended up actually a successful business owner. Then she goes off on another branch, and the biggest branch, of course, is her. You know, how she struggled with things, being a young Black girl growing up in England, minority, ethnic minority, the things she went through, the struggles of self-worth, body image, how her mother tried to tackle it, where she was successful, where she wasn't successful, how she talked to her own mother, so Zain's grandmother in Nigeria, to say, you know, I really don't know what to do anymore. And then the grandmother gives a suggestion. And that's how this young woman ends up in Nigeria for 2 years, because they thought it was going to benefit her, help her learn self-worth, help her learn to survive even in challenging circumstances. She goes on to talk about how she returned, went to boarding school, and the rationale behind her mother making that decision to send her to a boarding school in the UK, where she was again an ethnic minority, the experiences she had, being accused of theft and so on and so forth, how she ended up applying for Oxford, the issues around that, how people didn't believe it initially, how her mother persisted, how she ended up getting into Oxford. I wanted to talk about another branch she discusses. She goes into a particular branch. She calls it uplifters, something. So, in addition to branches of people, she also talks about important aspects. So, one other branch is how people can uplift others in life, how it's good to have role models, whether you know them or they're people that you know them personally or you just read about them. But whatever the case, you can look up to them. They have something in common with you, so they can encourage you to believe in yourself, believe that nothing is impossible. So how her mother had, I think she said, a binder full of pictures of people who were inspiring. And whenever her kids complained about something, she would say, look at her, look what she was able to do. You can do it too. And how her own mother too, as an older teen, when she just arrived in the UK, thought she was pretty much stuck doing menial jobs till she met somebody who was an uplifter for her, who encouraged her to do better than just menial. And she ended up going to pharmacy school, ended up getting a loan, ended up setting a pharmacy, and so on and so forth, and ended up becoming wildly successful. I'm trying to remember if there was another branch she talked about. She talked about the branch, how she ended up as a CNN anchor, the branch of continuously preparing in advance, how her mother taught her early when she was struggling in school to prepare in advance, study ahead, anticipate things that could come up, start making preparations for them, even though they're not there yet. Could it be a career advancement, a possible career opportunity that you could have in the future? Preparing little by little, seizing every opportunity to learn something about it, to practice, to get better, even though the job is not in sight yet, but you're thinking about it, you're looking into the possibility of doing it in the future. So much so that when you're that prepared, if an opportunity suddenly comes up and someone says, okay, now we're looking for this, I'm so sorry, it's short notice, we want to interview you in 2 weeks, sorry, you don't have time to prepare. Some other people may freak out, panic, but you've been preparing for months or years because you were anticipating this moment, preparing in advance. So I thought that was a very moving book, a very captivating life story, a story of accomplishment, a story of triumph over very severe, significant hurdles. How, indeed, she says, how one family achieved the unimaginable. I think this is a very good subtitle for the book. Again, the style, I very much love the style of starting with the foundation of the story, the seminal moment, the earth-shattering events that changed everything, and then going off in branches. Branches could be people, branches could be events, branches could be life lessons, and so on and so forth. Love this book. I hope you consider reading Where the Children Take Us, How One Family Achieved the Unimaginable by Zain Asher. This is Dr. Uche. Always love it when I get a chance to come review a book. I'm just noticing it's interesting. My nails are blue. The book is blue, huh? What a coincidence. But I loved reading this. If you read it, let me know what you think. I am looking forward to coming back here again to discuss another book with you. Until then, go ahead, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you know when I upload new videos. Stay well. Bye for now.